Hello, everyone. My name is Charles, and welcome to the Geeks of the Round Hangout discussion of Season 2 of Sleepy Hollow, Episode 6?
Yes.
Yes.
It is.
And Isaiah, my co-host.
That black
Say
guy.
hello.
His
Yes.
favorite black guy of all time.
Of course, because, well, even though I have like a bunch of other black friends, so, okay.
But I'm better.
But anywho, Isaiah, how about you tell our audience what the name of this episode is, because I don't remember it again.
Seriously, it's the Great Abyss. You know, looking into the Great Abyss.
Oh, the abyss gazes back, I think is what it
But it
was.
was still was better when I said it.
You know that quote from that movie called The Abyss. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was still a badass episode. I loved it a lot.
Oh, it was an awesome episode. I don't know,
We can just break this down between supporting characters, main characters, and the story, because supporting characters was just, I did like Joe a lot. I liked him a lot.
Yeah, Joe Corbin, who is Sheriff Corbin's son. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Sheriff Corbin was the character that was killed in the pilot episode of Sleepy Hollow. He was the sheriff that sort of mentored Abby Mills.
Yeah. And
he was also aware of what's going on with the apocalypse.
Right.
But anywho, yeah, Joe Corbin was very cool in this episode. He started out as a bit of a dick, how he was reacting to Abby, like saying, like, oh, look, it's Officer Mills, and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay. But then, of course, when we get more information as to why he was like that, I'm like, oh, I get it. His father played favoritism with Abby instead of him.
Yeah, but
and that, he kind of felt resentment.
Sorry to interrupt you, but that's how Corbin was. He was like, he cared about a lot of people, but he also thought about the greater good of mankind. So he was pretty much juggling that, but he did an awful job at it, like with his son and then Abby and her sister. So it was pretty much, I know it looked like favoritism, but he wasn't trying to go for that. But going on from there.
Yeah, but I don't know. Just the more that the story progressed for Joe Corbin was awesome.
Yeah.
I began to like him even more. Although there is one problem I had with this episode.
Shoot, what is it?
No Reyes.
Well, again, this episode was all packed of goodness.
Okay, first off, Reyes hasn't been in the past 3 episodes.
That is true.
Where the hell? I mean, this season is almost over. It's about halfway done. It's about halfway into the season because there's gonna be 12, I think maybe 13 episodes at the most this season.
Remember, they did the same thing with the Horsemen. So give it time, man. Give it time.
Well, the Horsemen, that doesn't matter. I mean, that doesn't matter. I'm talking about Reyes. I mean, like I said,
I'm talking about the Headless Horseman. It took a long while to get to him because they're using all these other filler type enemies to like whet our appetite. So
exactly, yes, but I want to know more about Reyes.
And time will come. You just gotta be more patient.
Now, I admit there's probably going to be another 6 or 7 episodes left in the season, and that's fine. But I would like to see Reyes again at least 3 more times this season.
Like a wish, like a genie, like one more time. Yay!
All right. Yeah, sure, whatever. But anyway, aside from Joe Corbin, we also have the monster of the week.
Actually, it was Joe.
Well, oh, come on. You said it that early? Yeah.
People already saw the episode, Charles. Relax.
True, but still. You ruined my moment, you bastard.
That's my job, though. That's how I ruin your moment. You ruin my moment. It's the circle of life.
But anywho, yeah, Joe Corbin, of course, was. If those of you who have watched all of the episodes of this season, you will notice during the episode with the Pied Piper, after they managed to get a hold of the whistle, the flute of the Pied Piper, Abby ends up breaking it, but that's what Henry Parrish wanted. Right. Henry Parrish was able to smash the thing into bits, sent it to Joe while he was over in the military, in Afghanistan, and he basically used it was sort of like supernatural anthrax.
Right.
Supernatural anthrax, yeah. And yeah, it was he said, "Oh, you have been cursed, and if you don't do as I say, then horrible things will happen." You know that old chestnut.
Right.
And Yeah, he didn't do what he said, and he turned. He went complete full Wendigo. He went full Wendigo and slaughtered his own platoon in Afghanistan.
Yeah,
And
but
then he got sent home, and he starts going crazy again.
that wasn't his fault though. He didn't know actually triggered it until he actually the first transformation. Like, oh, it's blood.
He didn't know what triggered it until the second transformation when he was at that Pioneer Point with those other drunks.
It was his friend.
Well, his friends, yeah. One of the guys cut his hand with a broken bottle. Blood showed up, and that's when he found out that blood triggered it.
Right.
Yeah.
And plus, it's like the American Werewolf situation. Like, when you see his transformation, it's kind of bad.
Even though Wendigos and werewolves are not even remotely the same.
Okay, Charles, we get it. It's Sleepy Hollow. Relax.
Hey, I've dabbled in a little bit of like monster type stuff.
Okay,
so I know
you love Dracula. We get it. You love Dracula Untold. We get it. You love him.
I wasn't referring to that movie, but thank you for bringing that up. Yes, Dracula Untold was.
Let's teabag him. We get it.
Anywho, aside from that, there was also one thing we got to mention.
Oh yes, we forgot.
Beginning of the episode where it looks like they're struggling, and then you see that Abby is trying to teach Ichabod yoga.
Yeah, the rat is fine, but dear Lord, he was just so terrible. He just kept bitching throughout the whole day. Like, really?
Yeah, he was actually making it more stressful for Abby, even though yoga is supposed to do the exact opposite. It's supposed to actually relieve stress. Right. But yeah, Ichabod was clearly not flexible, or at least not flexible enough for that.
But he got
man! But then of course,
don't say buns around me.
But then, of course, Abby asks him, so what would you find relaxing? And then it cuts to the scene where they're at the bar, and he's making a toast to George Washington, who has been dead for over 200 years.
Right.
Yeah, a long time. But it was a good toast. Yeah, it's still the same. It was still
he was like he wanted to get shit-faced drunk because he has to deal with Katrina's lies, and he has to deal with all this nonsense. He's like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna get shit-faced drunk. And all he got to do was like, don't say buns, just say double jugs.
I don't even know where the hell that came from. I mean, just call them buns or ass cheeks.
Yeah, but he just got so technical. Like, no, don't say buns. Say I'm sorry. That was so funny.
Oh man.
He said it was He said it was just like with no care in the world. Like, just don't say that. Say double jug. Does he know what those mean nowadays?
I'm not really going to finish that sentence, but okay. It just I don't know. Just that was just how he was. There was also something else that was also probably more hilarious. Something that happened right at the end of the episode, but we'll get to that later. Was one other thing I wanted to mention was Captain Irving and Henry Parrish saying I own your soul.
Right.
I own your soul, but there is one way where you can get your soul back. You have to take a life.
Right.
He's like, what? I'm not going to, what, you mean kill an innocent person? I never said anything about the person being innocent.
Right.
And then they look to the guy walking down the hallway. It turns out to be the drunk that that hit his daughter, that paralyzed her.
Sidewalk, and he drove on the sidewalk drunk. Like, wow. Really, dude?
Yeah. And, to be honest, I can't. After that little heart-to-heart that Irving had with the guy to try to forgive him or something, I gotta say, I kind of wanted Irving to kill him.
Yeah, same here, because he was just being a dick. Like, really, dude, you were drunk.
At that moment, I wasn't entirely sure if that was him or if it was Henry forcing him to say those things.
Right, but he said every word by verbatim, and he knows who he is, by the way.
Yes,
and also, when he said it was such a pain in the ass, that pissed me off pretty quickly. He's like, your child should have been more quicker to get out the way. She was on
no. He said that day ruined his life too because your daughter was too dumb to get out of the way. And if I had a kid and if she got paralyzed by a drunk driver and he said that to me, he would disappear. He would disappear. They would never find him.
That's like a slap in the face too. Like, are you serious? You ran over my daughter. And you said, "Oh, man, Actually, he
No,
should have
because
killed him. He should have.
the idiot that made that drunk driver appear to be an idiot, well, not just appear to be, but be a clear, irrefutable idiot, is that he didn't realize that pedestrians have the right of way on the sidewalk because cars and vehicles are not supposed to be on the sidewalk.
Right. It's like, oh dear God, it was just, and then it was just so much like that. That was a powerful moment though.
It's just when Irving grabbed that guy by the throat and pushed him down, I really wanted that guy to squeeze his hand and to crush his voice box. I
Yes.
really wanted him to do it. I
But
did,
that was Henry wanted though. That's what Henry wanted him to do.
yeah, that's exactly what Henry wanted, because I think what would happen is that if Irving had killed that guy, it would have finalized the deal of his soul belonging to Moloch.
Right.
I think right now it's still think of it as a purchase. Like you make an online purchase and then you check your bank account and it says purchase is pending, meaning that it has yet to be approved. Think of Irving's soul sort of like in the process of the purchase being finalized.
Like
There is still a chance for his soul to be saved. There's still a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because at this point, you can't trust anything Parrish has to say.
Yeah, knowing fact it might be true, you can't trust him.
Yeah.
He's good at that. He's good at manipulation. Really,
But then
really
again, he's a lawyer. Then again, he's also a lawyer, not just a horseman of war. He's a lawyer, so you can't really trust lawyers. Yeah.
Oh wait, people, you gotta check out his ad too for being like he's a lawyer. It's a spoof by the way, but you gotta check it out because it's a really good funny ad with
Oh yeah. The ad. It was crap. E-Online. It was uploaded to the website eonline.com,
It's on
where
YouTube,
it's on YouTube as well. Yes, and there was a video where it shows Henry Parrish, John Noble playing his character Henry Parrish, doing one of those late night snake oil type lawyer commercials, saying like, have you ever been like this and that, or have you ever had this happen to you or that happen to a friend of yours? Well, contact Henry Parrish Law to like get what you deserve, kind of thing. It's one of those types of commercials and all that,
well,
and it's really
in the windows too. He's dropping like hints and it's pretty much Easter eggs.
Isaiah,
hey,
it's
innuendos is fine.
not innuendo, it's hints.
Hints, innuendos, it's going to work, damn it. It's going to
Not
work.
the same damn thing, Isaiah. Not the same
Too
thing.
bad. It's Isaiah logic. You're going to agree with it anyways. It's Isaiah logic. So be quiet. Moving on.
Yes. I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on with this guy. But anywho, aside from that scene with Parrish, we also have. Well, no, I'm jumping too far ahead. What happens is they actually go to the Pioneer Point. Abby and Ichabod go to Pioneer Point to go sort of find the beast that they found, that they were looking.
Right.
They went to go there looking for Joe Corbin. Well, they found the Wendigo, and then they of course they start looking around and they find John. They find Joe leaned up against a tree, injured and all that, saying like, "Oh, my dad, blah blah blah, my dad, something like that." And I don't know, just they take him to the hospital.
Okay, let me decipher that much better for the viewers to understand. Okay,
Yeah.
so when Joe at first, before they actually knew he was a Wendigo, he was injured. He was crying out for his father. Ichabod did not really believe that because soldiers of war always say they want to see their mother again. Because in all honesty, I would say the same thing. I want to see my mother over my father. Oh, no offense to my father over here, but that makes perfect good sense. And how he deciphered the map he had in his own locker, or his own belongings in his apartment. It was longitude, latitude. It was location, not where not where the Wendigo is, but a box, a special type of box that it's an elixir that's been devoured by demons upon demons. It was in China, and Corbin found it. The old senior Corbin, he found it. And he buried it within Sleepy Hollow. So there we are.
Yes. And of course when they went after the hospital visit and everything, Joe manages to go back to Pioneer Point to look for that box, and he finds it. But then Abby and Ichabod show up, and he tries to run. Ichabod catches up to him, and with Joe's military training, he elbows Ichabod in the face
Yeah.
and that causes Ichabod's nose to bleed, and then Joe turns and sees the blood,
Actually, his
and it
nose did not really bleed. It was his hand because it was a barbed wire that was next to it.
oh right, yes, but uh, Joe then sees the blood and he transforms into the Wendigo, and that's when they find out, oh, he's the Wendigo.
He actually told him to go. He told him to say run because he said he didn't want to kill nobody. And also, this they already had the idea that he might be the Wendigo, or like the
Mhm.
Wendigo was chasing around him because they was like, okay, he might know his father, he know what his father was doing, so they kind of put the piece together until they found out, like he is the Wendigo itself. And we know why, thanks to Charles, when he said like the bones that Henry crushed up from the Pied Piper that was given to him in over Afghanistan, which was like anthrax, which just goes to him. That's why Henry. That's what Henry was there in the first place. The son was actually betraying the other son. It's kind of ironic too.
Mhm. Yeah, but I don't know, just when the Wendigo starts chasing Ichabod, Ichabod then screams, like Lieutenant, shoot it, and Abby ends up shooting it with the assault rifle, and it doesn't kill it. It actually, it surprisingly knocks it unconscious. I'm not really sure how that works, but okay, it is an otherworldly creature, so anything's possible.
Right. And then
But
it's really cool
then they
though.
managed to, yeah, they managed to take it into the famous cage where they locked away the horsemen.
Oh, I love seeing that place again. Like, oh man, it's a favorite place of ours.
Yes, because
That's
we've only seen it in this season one time before in that dream world in the pilot episode, in the premiere episode.
right, right. It was still
Yeah.
awesome to see. It's like they actually became very much creative in how they want to use the chamber as well. So
Uh-huh.
they reorganized it, they changed it up, and pretty much fit a Wendigo, which is really cool. And then they
Hmm.
brought in Holly, they brought in Jenny for more help on this issue or ordeal.
Yes, and I got some speculation about that, but I will get to that later.
Yeah, and also let me say this now, Holly, he's a dick. He is really he's a cool
Well,
dick, but he's a dick.
he's a privateer. He's a privateer, bounty hunter, whatever you want to call him. He is a opportunist, is what he is.
Opportunist who is also a complete dick.
Well, opportunists are usually are dicks, but yeah, I don't know. I did like Holly in this episode,
So
but
did I.
I don't think that he was in the episode that much,
I think that was good though.
which is not necessarily a bad thing. I think they're trying to ease us into that character.
Right.
I mean, I'm thinking that maybe at some point later in the season he's going to have a much bigger role in the show.
Right. And
Like he might talk, he might throw away his his greedy tendencies, like always trying to acquire money, and he might actually try to legitimately help Abby and her team to stop the apocalypse, or at least postpone it.
right, right.
Yeah.
And for me, I think it's gonna be more different like that because he was helping him, but it's like really odd too. I don't really trust him all the way. Like he's helping him so much more than he did in the past. And also make things more interesting. Jenny's also she been want to get back in the groove with him, if you know what I mean. Get back in the groove. Hey, I'll do the same
Yeah,
thing.
that's the speculation that I had. Is that like I said before, my speculation was that Abby and Holly were going to get together. Well, then we find out that Ginny and Holly are already together, or at least they are on a friends with benefits kind of thing.
Right, right.
And I think that maybe Holly and Abby are going to get together, and that might create another rift between Ginny and Abby.
I can see that happening too, but also I did love the
So,
scenes of like Crane and Holly because they're actually kind of funny. Because the only fact they're polar opposites, it's really funny to watch those two characters interact with one another and interact with new people, like the a native
oh
tribe.
yeah,
That was cool.
oh yeah. So that was very cool. That scene where they go meet with the Indian biker gang.
Oh, that
I
was
mean
cool.
that was very cool because Holly thought that he had the thing handled and the rip his head off, but then when Ichabod started to talk to them about certain things, they started to respect him.
Yeah,
They
because let's
started.
be honest, you respect Crane over Holly.
Well, Holly is a privateer, so yeah, it's pretty clear that yeah, nobody's gonna respect him. But Ichabod actually had a respect for that Native American culture, and they could sense that, and so they respected him in kind.
Yeah, and I like that a lot too. I like how Ichabod he's in tune with a lot of other people around the world himself. More interactive. He's more modern than modern day folks. So that's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we covered the biker gang. We covered Joe talking about becoming the Wendigo. The scene where to find out what was in it. I don't remember what it was called though. What did they call it?
It's called the javelin. It's like saying a javelin, but it's not javelin. It's like it's really hard how you put it because it's a J. It's like jiving.
The Jinkin.
The Jinkin.
The Jinkin.
Like saying like Yahtzee, but whatever. Yeah.
The Jinkin.
Yeah.
The Jinkin. Yeah. They mentioned that it was actually a poison that was created from several different poisonous creatures.
Right.
Yeah, they were locked inside. They were locked inside the bottle, and they started killing each other. And the poison was created from the remains of those dead creatures.
Knowing the fact that I already said that, yes, that is true, folks.
Yeah.
But
yes, I repeated what you said because I said it better.
No, when a black guy says it, it's 10 times better. Anyways, folks, moving on from that. Since Ichabod and Holly got their plans together to stop the Wendigo and save Joe, it was kind of funny how they said, like, yeah, I got a skull that reads like the manual. Like, really? A skull? Yes. And they got the blade for it, too. So that was really, really cool. And also, we got another cool, interesting moment from Ichabod and Abby. Because she cut her hand so they contracted the Wendigo. But Ichabod said, like, no, I'm going with you as well. Like, he cut his hand, too. Like, we're going to do this together. So that was really badass.
Yes, it was. Okay. There was something else. There was also the scene where after they found out about the Jinkin, and they found out that Henry was going to be looking for it, then Henry, army of Hessians, invaded the base and they took it.
Yeah.
And the boy and Joe ended up going with him.
Right.
Yeah, Joe went with Henry. Because Henry had told him that he had a cure, and then when he gave him the gin, Henry he said, "All right, where's the cure?" Henry took his arm, sliced it open, and Joe saw the blood, and that triggered it, and he said, "What? I thought you were going to give me a cure." It's like, humanity is the disease, the monster is the cure. Yeah,
that was such a dick move, but that was really cool.
that's when we see him turn. Yeah.
Yeah, like a werewolf.
Okay, but
werewolf and Wendigo are
not a werewolf. Like I said, not the same thing.
I know,
yeah,
Charles.
Not the same
Thank
thing. But
I know.
Okay, but what happened after that?
They saved him.
Yeah, they found out. Yeah, they saved him. They found out that They did save him eventually, but they found out what happened, that he actually was turned, and they thought, oh, maybe he's not turned or anything like that. And this is when they actually go to the Native American biker gang, and they find out that the only way to where the change is permanent is that he has to eat, he has to feed after he's turned for the fourth time. He has to feed, and they get the device. They get the skull with the incantation on it. They get the blade, and then they lure him into the area. And the Wendigo is stabbing at Abby. She's staring at him, trying to keep his attention. Ichabod is speaking the incantation in the background. And then once he finishes it, nothing happens. And they're like, "Oh shit! He must have already fed." But then, not long after that, but then of course Ichabod was like, "Here, take the knife. You need to do it." And Abby's like, "No, give him more time." And while giving him more time, it actually worked. He changed back to being a human. And Joe was all right.
Yes, that was a good thing too. yay, Joe's not dead. So that was a good
Yes.
thing.
Yes, and I loved that scene. I loved how Abby was was not giving up on him, even
Right,
though Ichabod had already done so.
right. That was really good for her
And
character.
it was good for her character. And then, of course, after that, they end up cutting to the base behind the police station,
Hmm.
and Joe. And this is when I start to think that Joe might be joining the team. But then we find out, oh, can you put in a letter of recommendation for Quantico so I can become an FBI agent? And I'm like, oh, damn it! I was really hoping to see more of him
No,
in
that's really
the
good.
for
That's a
him
good
joining
thing
the
though.
team.
That's a good thing because since you had like the captain on that side, if he actually goes through the FBI academy and actually goes through with it, he'd be a much bigger help as well. So that'd be like that's like a future type of
Well,
storytelling.
not entirely, because the FBI are riddled with red tape. So
They can cut through the
yeah,
some of them can cut through that red tape. They got if you know somebody, if they know the right people.
it's not that simple. I'm not going to get into it, but it's not that simple.
Right,
But
but almost the last part, Charles. But the video game.
yes, exactly. Then of course Abby and Joe are having this heart to heart, and then you hear Ichabod yell at the top of his lungs, and then you see what he's looking at. He is playing a first-person shooter on a computer, and he's saying like, "You fragged me, you uncouth vagrant." And he was trying to insult probably a 12-year-old on the other end of that mic with like what is it, like 18th century, 19th century insults.
Right, he said
And I
buns
got,
too.
yeah, and I gotta say that was probably the most hilarious part I have seen in this entire season.
Same here. It was very funny. Like, 'cause it was so funny because he was not really cursing at someone. He's like, this is actually like compliments. Like, okay, this is the weirdest compliment ever.
No, no, they were insults. They just aren't. They just were insults that haven't been used in over 100 years.
Yeah, but those insults are like compliments to trolls themselves. Like, this is like a compliment to me. So thank you.
Yeah.
So again, it was just so funny. It was just funny.
Yes, it was great. It was great. Yes.
But sadly, we got another sad scene. Well, two great scenes, but one of them was sad. Like Irvin was saying, like, yeah, you're not gonna hear from me for some time now because they might put me in the big solid comfortable war. It's like the hole, pretty much. They're gonna put him in the shoe because he attacked someone.
Yeah.
And this is gonna be really sad to see his character not go, but pretty much be on the sidelines for the time being, which is sad. But also the second scene was very very cool because Henry again messed around with the dark arts. He pulled from the bottle from what Charles said that was from creatures from devouring each other with a spider, a black widow spider that went into Katrina's mouth. It's like, wait a minute, what in the world was supposed to happen with this one? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And I don't know.
Yeah, and then of course we see the scene where Henry was getting the Jenkin and pouring it out into this thing, and then of course we see a worm-like creature come out of it. And then that worm-type creature absorbed all the poison and formed into a single creature that I absolutely hate, a black widow spider.
Yes.
Yes. And then the final scene of the episode is where we see that black widow spider crawling into the mouth, which of course people on the internet are familiar with this joke, is that when you sleep, spiders crawl into your mouth. Yes, and that's what happened. The black widow spider goes into Katrina's mouth and all that, and she ends up getting poisoned. And yeah, I don't think she's gonna die.
No, she's not. It's gonna be really much more. I just don't know because this story is so unpredictable. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Really, because pretty much everything you watch you label as predictable.
That is true, but Sleepy Hollow, no one fact the story is silly. It's silliness is actually a big illusion to me. It's like, oh, what you gonna see now? I don't know. It's so confusing. That's why about the Weeping Lady. The Weeping Lady was so confusing to me. The plot line was really good because I was like, what? Katrina? What? So here it was actually like I can't really predict anything that well. It's just hard.
What?
Even he's doing because he understands Isaiah logic. Isaiah logic up in here. He understands.
Oh my God, we went an entire hangout without you saying that damn word.
But you agree with me. You said the same words as me. That's Isaiah logic right there.
God damn it. But, okay. But, now it seems that we've pretty much covered all the episode.
Yep.
Now it's time for us to go into the best part of the show. Wild speculations. I have no idea why I did it like that, but okay.
I thought it was only a circle jerk, but okay.
What? You know what? Never mind. Never mind. I don't want to know.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am absolutely sure. Okay, Isaiah, let's go with your speculation first.
Really about yours, because you might forget.
Go.
Fine, not to yell. Anyways, folks, anyways. So my speculation is that Spider is going to be pretty much more willing to, it's going to make Katrina more to make her more
Suggestive.
More suggestive and more accepting towards the Headless Horseman's advances, which is going to equal to more of their plan, which is getting Katrina on their side. Which is my speculation is always that.
So what you're saying is that the Spider might transform her, because if no. Since you may have seen this in the preview for next week, is that there's a couple of scenes where you can see she's changing. Physically, she's changing. I mean, her eyes went from what they are to like green and veiny, and that leads me to believe that this might not do a full transformation, but it will begin the process of transforming her into a horseman.
Oh no, not that. That's just the breadcrumbs of turning into a horseman. The big thing is like if she does turn into like a spider creature, guess who's going to save her? Not Crane, but the Headless Horseman, Abraham. And if he does save her, he's going to gain more Katrina's trust.
Exactly. All right. Because I mean, I think Henry might be doing this without the Horseman's knowledge. And so if something is happening to Katrina, the Horseman's going to want to know what it is. And when he finds out, he's going to try to save her. And here's a little bit of my speculation. If the Horseman tries to save her and can't figure it out, he might ask Abby and Ichabod for help.
Ooh, no, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
That would make his character so badass.
Yes. And you're right. I forgot my speculation.
Oh, what? Isaiah logic? Oh.
Isaiah logic had nothing to do with it because there's two different things with logic. You have logic and Isaiah logic. Logic actually makes sense.
But it's Isaiah logic, though. You agree with me, though. You agree with me.
But Isaiah logic is actually makes even less sense of seeing a bat pooping green shit.
That is true, folks. But however, if the person does believe my batshit crazy ideas, they believe in Isaiah logic. Thank you, Charles, for agreeing with me.
I would. Oh, you know what? No. Word to the wise, everybody out there on the internet world. If Isaiah ever brings up Isaiah, if he says that you agree with him because of Isaiah logic, yeah, no, don't listen to him. No.
It's a good idea. Agree with Isaiah logic. Come on, assume it. Assume Isaiah logic. Assume it.
Okay, alright, so we've pretty much done wild speculation now, and, yeah.
Yeah, that's it, folks.